You may say to yourself, I listen to and enjoy the Ron Van Dam podcast. What does that say about me as a person? You're probably going to want to sit down for this one. It's going to take a while, and it's not, good. It's the Ron Van Dam Show on New England Broadcasting.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Okay, sure.
Hold on tight, things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
Hey, welcome to the program. It is the Ron Van Dam Show. Guess what my name is? No. Nope. No. It's Ron Van Dam. Oh, God. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is a thrill for you. Me, not so much. For you, this is incredible. I will entertain you for the next half hour, and after that, you're on your own. Here's how we're going to do this. It's simple. You sit there, shut up, and I will talk for a change. People are tired of hearing you blab on and on and on and on about your life. They really are sick of it. So you chill and take it easy, and I will put you to sleep within a couple of minutes. That'll be enough. That's enough. Thank you. Well, I am, as I've said so many times, the only talk show host you will ever listen to who actually cares about how you're feeling and who on a daily basis asks you the question, how you doing? There's 7 words in the English language that I say to myself every morning when I get up. Out of bed. It's how I start my day, and those 7 words are, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on here? 7 words that are, indeed, my Bible, my 7 commandments. When I get up in the morning, I put my pants on like everybody does over my head. I go into the bathroom, I relieve myself in a very odd manner, and I look in the mirror, and I decide this is not really worth it and go back to bed. And that's how I do my entire day. In theory. There's a lot of stuff in between. I eat, I walk around, I say things, but then I go back to bed. There's really not much in between. And that's the way that we're all spending our lives. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? You've got to make some changes. Oh, my God. If it's only just to take a chair and put it in a different corner of the room, that's a change. Every day, something should change in your life. Count your change. Do you have a big jar? With all the loose change, count your change. Do something with the word change in it every day. Change your underpants. Oh my God. Or if you're a woman, change your panties. Can you believe you're listening to a show where they are actually yelling at you, telling you to change your panties? Who does that? Who does that? Seriously, change them. I have a great guest coming up later on in the program, which will be the thesis of today's show in a way. And it has to do with changing. I have said to myself so many times in my lifetime, I don't know how old you are. To be honest with you, I don't even know how old I am. I've lied about it so much. I'm like here's a sexist comment. I'm like a woman. I've changed my age so many times. I literally don't know how old I am. I know I'm older than 6 and younger than 120, but It's somewhere in there. I've said to myself all my life, I know how to make things better. My God. I have been doing a talk show for over 30 years. Over 30 years. I have interviewed over that time hundreds of thousands of guests. Oh, line them up. They'd circle the planet. And I am told through these interviews in a consensus manner, through thousands of interviews, how I can live a healthier, happier life. Do I take any of those words to heart? No, not at all. I have chosen to ignore the personal advice that I've gotten in my ear for 3 decades now. And it's pitiful. It's pitiful. What the hell's wrong with me? Better question, what the hell's wrong with you? I put it on you. That's how I do things. I have been given advice how to be totally healthy. I have been told to exercise, not to do cardio or spinning classes. I don't know how to spin. I mean, I guess you turn around really fast till you fall down. I don't know what that is. I think spinning classes when you get on a bicycle, a stationary bicycle. By the way, what a stupid concept that is. You pedal your ass off and you go absolutely nowhere except to the hospital with a heart attack. And there's some woman or man standing in the front of a classroom yelling at you, "Come on, go, go, go. Pedal harder, harder, harder. Come on, you sissies. Get your go." Ooh, whoa. No. Don't call me a sissy when I'm on a bike. Not when I'm on a stationary bike. Don't call me a sissy. I'm pedaling as hard as I can, and subsequently am short of breath and shall actually fall down and pass out. So don't call me a sissy. Spinning class my ass. Well, that rhymed. Must be something to it. They have exercise boot camps. Yeah. That's what I need, a boot camp. A camp for boots? What the hell? Where did that expression come from? Where somebody, again, stands in front of me and yells at me for being an unhealthy asshole. I don't need that. I'm married. I don't need that. I know how to be healthy, but I have chosen every day of my life to totally ignore that advice and not try it and not do it. Now, I have made certain changes in my life. I'm not eating healthier, but I have lost some weight. And I think the only reason I've lost weight is I just can't find it. It has nothing to do with anything other than a memory thing. Ron, do you remember how much you weighed last week? No, I don't. Do you remember how much you weigh this week? Yeah, I just weighed myself. I think I lost weight. I don't know where it is. I have no idea. I am eating less sugar, which I guess is good, but apparently it's not enough. My doctor is from the lovely country of India, I believe. She never said she was. Her name indicates that she is, but I can't be sure. But she's from that part of the world. Wonderful lady, I assume. I don't know her personally. She's seen me naked. I have not seen her naked. That's not fair. Do I complain? No, because I'm not in the mood. To be honest with you, I have no need or want to see her naked. Apparently, she does with me. She makes me take all my clothes off to examine me, yet doesn't look at all the things on my body. And then she has me put on a gown that opens in the back, so the back and my ass are totally exposed. It's a weird fetish they have, these people. A very weird fetish. Anyway, here's the funny part. They tell me to strip naked, put this little Johnny on. And by the way, if your name is Johnny, what an insult, huh? They have me put this little gown on with the back totally exposed. But they always say, but you can keep your socks on. I mean, this is perversion 101 is what this is. And then we go to the probing exercise. I don't know, the boot camp of probing. Anyway, my doctor, I believe, is from India because her name somewhat gives me an indication. And she keeps telling me, and I don't know if this is like throughout India or not, but she keeps telling me, Ron, you've got to stop eating meat. And I say to her, I know that. You're not the only person who's told me that. Everybody's told me that. People even stop me on the street and say, excuse me, sir, I don't know you, but you've got to stop eating meat. I don't know what it is about me. And I don't eat tons of meat. I don't eat fatty meats at all. I only eat lean meats, a lot of chicken, a lot of fish, very little beef. I believe in sparing the cow and spoiling the rod. So I don't know. I just don't know why I cannot. And she says, you should eat a plant-based diet. Plant-based diet. You just eat fiber and no meat, and you will be healthy, and you can get it off of all these pills that I'm prescribing for you. I'm not on a lot of pills for somebody my age. I think I'm down to 83 bottles of pills now, all different things. No, I don't take that many, but I don't want to take any at all. So the simple thing would be just to stop eating meat and to eat more fiber, and I think everything would be just fine. Do I do that? No. Why not? Because healthy food doesn't taste great. Because I was brought up, as you were probably brought up, eating all that other stuff. And it's called comfort food. It makes us feel comfortable. It reminds us of our childhood, unless you're really poor and you didn't eat anything at all. You know what it is? I don't know. Our bodies love sugar and salt and everything that can destroy it in a short period of time. I know the answers. I've been told it 1,000 times. And yet do I do it? No. Ron, you've got to exercise. Here's the deal. Keep your body in motion. Why? Because it's healthier? Yeah, that and you're not as easy a target, It's harder to hit somebody when they're moving. All right, that's a good reason. All right, that's a valid reason. I know what to do. I'm very sedentary. You could put a net over me very easily. I watch a lot of television. My eyes are strained. My back hurts. All the stuff that you have. And if you've listened to this show for 30 years, and I've been doing this thing for the same show, man. Not always in a podcast form, usually in a broadcast radio form. As I've said this so many times, and it's just the fact, so you get to know me. I've done morning broadcast radio for about 25 of my 30 years in broadcast here, in radio or whatever I'm doing. 25 years doing a morning show, which means I got up very early in the morning before the sun came up and drove to a studio in a major city, and I did their morning show for some of those shows were 2 hours. Mostly it was a 3-hour show. Sometimes it was a 4-hour show. Every single weekday morning. It was fun. It was fun, but was it something that made me healthy? No. I would on the way to the studio, I'd pick up a donut, coffee, and that would be my breakfast and sugar, and I'd sit down in front of a microphone for 3 hours straight. That's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. My vocal cords are well established, but that's it. What have I got to show for it? Anyway, so my guest in just a bit is a doctor who has written a book who is claiming that if you follow his stuff, you will feel so much, you'll be able to get off pills, you'll feel great, you'll be a healthy specimen. You don't have to take Viagra anymore. It changes your metabolism. Your food is digested differently. Your protein doesn't have to come from animals anymore. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've got it all in front of me, but do I do it? No, I don't. You know when I was the healthiest? When I was younger, and I don't know if it's because I was younger or because I did things differently. I lived in New York City for a good number of years, and I did radio there too, and I walked to everything. People in New York City basically don't have cars, and if they do, they are kept in a garage, and you never see them. People walk to work, or they walk a little bit and then they take a cab. But there's a lot of walking involved. One would tend to walk in New York City. And that's when I was the healthiest, because I walked everywhere. And not every building had an elevator. You had to walk upstairs and downstairs and on curbs and down curbs. And you had to be, there were thousands of people on the street with you when you were walking, and you had to commandeer and use your brain every second. You have to be omniscient, know what's going on behind you, know what's going on next to you, know what's going on in front of you. Constantly using mental and physical energy. That was New York City living. And it probably still is. Just more expensive. And I never felt healthier. Yeah, it's true. Now, seriously, come on. If I raise my elbow to bring the martini closer to my lips, that is excessive exercise for me. It's really not funny, Ron. Anyway, I thought I would talk about that today because I think that's something that we are all in the same boat. No matter what your weight class is or your mental stability ratio. I don't know what that is. I made that up. We all want to be healthier, but we all lack the ability to discipline. The only people that I see that have discipline are people that go to the gym every single day, usually in the morning or on the way home from work if you happen to be so lucky. And they religiously, and I use the word religiously, go to the gym and they work out. It's Wednesday, we're doing legs today. It's Thursday, we're doing arms. It's Friday, we're doing abs. They have got it charted out. Charted out. Like they're invading countries in the world. Today we'll do Poland. Tomorrow we'll do Bolivia. Yes, they've got it all figured out. These people I admire. They're crazy. Oh, they're crazy. They've built up their bodies to look a little weird and a little intimidating. Nothing fits them anymore, not because they're fat, because their arms are too large. Yet, I respect their discipline. Oh my God. Discipline. That's the magic word. It's like disciples with a plin at the end. And I admire that. Not a lot, but somewhat. Does discipline turn me on sexually? God, no. God, no. But at the same time, mentally, no, not even that. But I respect it because I respect things that other people can do that I can't do. That's my definition of respect in that sense. I admire. Let's use the word admire. I admire you. I admire you. You're admirable. Okay, my guest is going to join us now, but first, you can't just go right into a guest, Ron. First, here's a little something for you.
First, they put jalapenos on your hamburger, but that wasn't hot enough. Then came habaneros, but still, that wasn't hot enough. Next came the ghost pepper, and still, that was not hot enough for you. Well, buckle up, tough guy, because Burger Guy thinks you're not man enough to handle the heat of our new, sweet, flaming mother of heaven. What the fuck did you assholes do to my hamburger burger? Featuring 2 of Burger Guy's signature paper-thin patties topped with an experimental hot sauce made from a concentrated hot pepper extract that has only been approved for military use by North Korea. This burger will burn a hole through every inch of your intestines and then slap your mama on its way out for good measure. This burger is so hot they wouldn't let us test it on prisoners. Death row prisoners. But for a limited time, you can try your luck at your local Burger Guy. If you're not a complete pussy.
All purchases of the Sweet Flaming Mother of Heaven, what the f*** did you assholes do to my hamburger burger, must be pre-approved by a certified attorney at law with proper notification of next of kin. Sweet Flaming Mother of Heaven, what the f*** did you assholes do to my hamburger burger must not be consumed within 500 yards of schools or within 1,000 yards of open flame. All Burger Guy franchisees reserve the right to ignore cries for mercy or requests for immediate medical attention.
Hello.
Good morning.
Dr. Neal Barnard joins us now. He is a nutrition researcher and New York Times best-selling author, and he's done it again here, Your Body in Balance. We're talking about hormones and how they affect your body according to the foods that you eat. What is a hormonal imbalance, by the way?
Hormones are basically messengers that go from one part of the body to another. So in a woman's body, the ovaries make estrogens that are hormones that affect her reproductive organs, or in a man, testosterone will affect his, say, muscular development, for example, or the thyroid gland makes thyroid hormone, which gives us energy. Yeah. So they're really messengers.
Okay. And you're pretty much stating that we don't talk about this very much, but there is an imbalance going on in many cases.
That's right. And the amazing thing is that foods can control our hormones. Sometimes foods throw them off kilter. So that gives us completely new control over a huge range of problems, such as if a young woman has menstrual cramps, or a couple has problems with infertility, or a woman has hot flashes. It could be that foods are throwing off the hormonal balance, and we can bring it back into balance. The same is true for men with erectile dysfunction, or thyroid problems, or even diabetes.
Yeah, diabetes, thyroid, I mean, probably 2 of the most common forms of discussion that we even have on this show. So many people are affected by it on one level or another. You believe that if one ate in a different manner, put different things in your body, so to speak, that this imbalance could be corrected to some extent?
Yes, to an enormous extent. And it really means rethinking the disease. In the case of diabetes, the old-fashioned view is my blood sugar is high, so I should not eat sugar and don't eat bread that releases sugar. And there's something to that. But what we've discovered now is what causes the whole thing. And what causes the whole thing is that the hormone insulin is misbehaving. When it arrives at the cells to try to get the sugar into the cell, it can't function. It's malfunctioning. And so we found that foods can make it function again. So they get your insulin working right, and maybe you won't even need medication anymore. Now, everyone's different. You should definitely talk to your doctor as you change your diet. But we have seen people who don't have diabetes anymore because they've been able to get their foods in the correct balance. Well,
let's use that as an example, because that is so widespread. And even for people who don't have diabetes, it's also a healthy choice. What kinds of tips do you have for eating foods that would pretty much take care of that?
Okay, three tips. And by the way, what I'm about to say is exactly the opposite of how I was raised as a kid in Fargo, North Dakota, where it was burgers and pork chops. The healthiest diet for reversing diabetes or improving it as much as possible excludes animal products completely. So it's a vegan diet. Number 2, we keep oils really low, so not a lot of fried junk. And the third tip is that we use foods that don't get blood sugar out of whack. So instead of white bread, you might pick rye bread or pumpernickel bread. They're the healthier carbohydrates. But the most important ones are getting rid of the animal products and keeping oils low. When that happens, the cell can respond to insulin much more effectively, and people need less medicine, and we have seen cases then when the disease actually just completely vanishes,
Wow.
which we had not been prepared for before.
Wow. What about fiber? I hear so much about fiber, how that affects so many different things. Is that actually something to talk about?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And in fact, that fits right in with the prescription, because when I said get rid of animal products, one of the big problems with the meat that meat and poultry and fish in general, including everything I grew up with, meats don't have fiber. Dairy products don't have fiber, and they tend to disrupt digestion, but they tend to disrupt blood sugar control as well. So when you're on a completely vegan diet, there's fiber in everything, and that is part of what gets us into better balance.
Ah, okay. I know people just...
By the way, I don't want to understate this.
What?
I'm not talking about making a little improvement in your life.
Yeah.
One of the first research participants we had was a man named Vance, who had had diabetes for several years. It was all up and down his family tree. He went on this approach. He lost 60 pounds. His doctor, his private doctor said, "This is amazing, you're doing so well. I'm going to stop all your medications." But his blood sugar control came into the perfectly normal range without medications, and effectively he no longer had diabetes. And when we first saw this, we were shocked, but now we see it routinely. So the whole reason I wrote Your Body in Balance is so many people think they are condemned to medications and they'll have to be on insulin injections for the rest of their life. Maybe so, but why don't we see what we can do with foods to get your body back into balance?
Sure. After how long, let's say you changed your diet and your eating habits and you didn't put the so-called junk into your mouth, how long after that do you start feeling better? Your metabolism changes, you just feel healthier. Is that months after, weeks after, days after? Because as human beings, when we start to feel better, now we have a reason. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you get on the scale and you see that something shed 2 or 3 pounds, you'll keep doing it. Otherwise, you kind of won't. How long does it take before you start feeling the effects?
Depends on the condition. With regard to diabetes, people are a little bit unsure if what I've said is true. For about 3 days, they think, can this be true? But usually by about day 4 or 5, they start to notice their blood sugars improving, even before they've lost substantial amounts of weight, and certainly within the first couple of weeks. With regard to menstrual cramps, I mentioned earlier at the beginning of our discussion that menstrual cramps, fertility, and hot flashes, these are related, in this case, not to insulin, but to estrogens. And what we see is that usually right in the first cycle, a woman who's had really bad cramps and heavy flow, she'll notice that that's improved in the next cycle after the diet change. However, none of this is going to happen if you don't actually do it. So I encourage people not to just take this on faith and think, well, maybe I'll kind of give it a try. I encourage them to see for themselves, and that means take a month and actually do what we're suggesting. And for most people, it is just life-changing that they realize that they have more control than they ever had thought possible. The guy who's at the doctor for the erectile dysfunction medications suddenly discovers he's restored blood flow to his private parts, and he doesn't need the Viagra, and he just feels like a young man again. We see this absolutely routinely. But again, don't take my word for it. I encourage people to try it for themselves. Talk with their doctor, let them know what they're doing.
I can't imagine any doctor saying don't try to eat healthy. We don't.
It's funny you say that. When I was a medical student at the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., we were really not taught about nutrition, and that's still true today.
Yes.
And so doctors tend to be a little too quick with the prescription pad, and they don't really look at the cause of the disease. Take infertility. How many couples are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on fertility treatments? We have seen people's, both in men and in women, the fertility issues. For a man, it's a low sperm count quite often. For a woman, she's not ovulating normally. When we get their foods back in balance, those things can improve. So I would encourage anybody, whatever other treatment you may be doing, good heavens, let's get your body back in balance. Maybe you won't need the other treatments.
Sure. I mean, I would imagine that thyroid and metabolic issues have a lot to do with not being able to control your weight as much as you would like to. I mean, it seems just like across the board makes sense. Of course, check with your doctor, or check with Dr. Barnard. Give him a call. No, don't do that. All right. So the book's available now, I assume.
Yes, it's called Your Body in Balance. And by the way, let me brag about the recipes. Lindsay S. Nixon is a wonderful recipe developer. She made 65 recipes that put it to work, plus tips for people who mostly eat at restaurants. But when she sent me the recipes, she also sent a note saying that this approach had cured her own menstrual cramps too. Wow. So I thought, all right, that's an endorsement I hadn't been expecting.
Sure. That's a inside the jacket kind of thing.
You got it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing you brought up, and I haven't really read anybody else doing this. If you have to eat out all the time for various reasons, for work or whatever, what do you do there? And that's very cool. That's not discussed much at all, ever. Maybe the restaurants...
Well, my tip here is think international. Yeah. It's harder sometimes at a steakhouse, easier at an Italian, Chinese, Mexican, Japanese kind of restaurant. But we got lots of tips for you, so Your Body in Balance has you covered.
Good. Okay, Your Body in Balance. How can people follow you, Doctor?
Our own website is pcrm.org. That stands for the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, pcrm.org. And Your Body in Balance is on all the online places, but frankly, if there's a local bookstore, they'd appreciate your business.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good information and a pleasure speaking to you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, that'll do it for me today. You have been wonderful as usual. Thank you to the doctor. And thank you to you. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with a brand new show. I hope you join me then. And until that time comes, and that'll be tomorrow, by the way, I wish you peace.